Hello, 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 everyone. It's Susie McMahon, and we are back. It's been since March that we did a live. Oh my gosh, it's June already. And look who our guests are. My guest and my group expert. Say hey, Francine, and then Dana, I want you to say hey, and then I'll do the
Hi,
introduction.
everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, yay. Okay, so we said hi. So for any of you that start watching live, please remember that StreamYard will not show your name in the comments. It'll just say Facebook user. So if you want us to know who you are, you need to make sure to let us know or grant StreamYard the permissions. But this is Dana's third time with us because she's written, as far as I know, 3 novels. And I'm going to read her bio. How's that sound? Dana Ridenour, I always mess up your name, Dana. Always. Dana Ridenour is a retired FBI agent. She spent most of her career as an FBI undercover operative, infiltrating criminal organizations, including the Animal Liberation Front, an organization of domestic terrorists. An award-winning author, Dana lives in Beaufort, South Carolina, with her amazing husband. Dun, da, da. How you doing tonight, Dana?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me back. I love coming to your book club. This is wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And Francine is one of my group experts. It's been a while since she's been with me. We all have had life going on, but I'm going to give her the opportunity to ask the very first question tonight. We're going to be on for about 30 minutes tonight.
Thank you, Susie. And thank you for having me here with Dana tonight. I'm super excited to be back helping you interview and talk to Dana about this book. So my very first question, Dana, is I need to know where the idea for this book came from. Like, how did you come up with this? How long did it take you to write it? Did you write it in parts? Did you know how it was going to end? So
okay.
tell us everything.
That's quite a question. Okay. Well, let me start with I had the first 2 books out, and my husband comes along, and of course, he and I had worked together as undercover a team. We were undercover team when we were just dating. We weren't married yet. And one day he's standing there and he says, "Well, how come I never made the books?" And so I was like, "Well, honey, the 3rd book is all about you. You're in the 3rd book." So I had no choice. I had to write a 3rd book at that point, right? But the story came about because Bill and I, when we were undercover, we actually did go overseas to a camp. We were invited by our American targets to accompany them to a camp. Now, in the FBI, if they ever say camp, that means terrorist training camp. That doesn't mean summer camp, that's for sure. So, yeah. So we knew we had to go. So we got permission from headquarters. And we actually did go to the Netherlands, and we attended this camp run by the extremist groups. And there were people from all over the world. So all of the stuff that's in the book about the camp itself, the conditions of the camp, all of that is true. That came straight from real life and our real life experience. And we spent about 10 days over there living in a tent without a shower. So it was not one of my more glamorous undercovers, I can tell you that much. It was a long time to go without a shower. So that was the situation with that. And then, of course, from there, I did fictionalize a lot of the story. But the reason why the undercovers are over there was a true case. It was based on a case that we actually did work together.
Wow, that sounds intense.
Sorry if I was trying some of the newfangled technology here in StreamYard. So if I got y'all a little off key with the camera angles, I apologize. So what I want to elaborate on is what you just said about the difference between camp. It's not summer camp, it's heavy duty camp. And tell me, do you want to talk a little bit about how long you were with the agency?
Well, I was an FBI agent for 21 years. And out of the 21 years, I spent about 13 years working undercover at different times in different places. But I was lucky enough during my career to be able to do 2 full-time undercover cases. And That means you're deep cover, so you don't bounce in and out of case. You don't change your identities. You're 24/7 undercover, which means you don't have contact with your family. You don't have contact with your friends. They can't call you because all of your equipment is covert. My laptop was covert. My phone was covert. So, nobody in my family even had my phone number or my undercover email or anything like that. So if there's a family emergency, they would have had to have contacted my contact agent, and he could have gotten a hold of me eventually through my undercover cell phone. But it's a lonely existence in a way when you're doing the full-time cases like that. But it's also fun too. I enjoyed it because I thought that was more fun than bouncing in and out, in and out, in and out of different identities. So you live the alias 24/7.
So that must make it a little bit easier.
I found it easier because when I was doing the short-term cases where I was bouncing in and out of my aliases, I thought that was a little harder because I had to remember who I was that morning when I woke up. At least when I was working full-time 24/7, I knew who I was. So I never carried anything with my real name. I didn't have any kind of anything with my real name on it. I didn't, of course, I obviously didn't carry my credentials or gun or anything like that.
Wow. Now, my other follow-up, I'll have Francine have you ask another question in a minute, but my follow-up is, so my next question is, what is the meat of the story? Like the inspiration, the love interest, you said a little bit at the very beginning, but talk a little bit more about why the two characters are enjoying the Netherlands or not the Netherlands, but just talk a little bit more about the romance in this novel.
Well, it kind of was based a little bit on the fact that Bill and I, when we started working undercover together, we were a fairly a fairly new couple. We hadn't been together very long. So when we're working undercover, you're finding out all kinds of stuff about each other. And, you're 24/7. That's it. You're working together, you're living together, you're eating together, sleeping together. It's all 24/7. That's you're not parted at all. So if you can survive that under the pressure of working undercover, then we figured marriage wasn't going to be anything after that. So, we had gone through some of those emotions that Lexi and Blake were feeling. Although the one thing that was different between the fictional couple was that there was some question as to Blake's motives. Was he there to watch her? Were they truly partners, or was he a plant to keep an eye on her? Because if you remember at the end of the Cabin book, Lexi was messed up. She'd come out of undercover life, and she was injured, both physically, mentally, psychologically, every way you could be injured. Lexi was a mess. She didn't need to be working undercover. That was clear. But the opportunity came up and she wasn't going to pass it up. That's for sure. So she jumped back into undercover work way before she was ready. So there was a little question about where Blake's loyalties lie. And of course, with Bill and I, we always knew, we were each other's partners, and there was really never that question involved with that. But it's just tough when you're undercover together. It really is.
I can imagine. Francine, you're up.
When you're undercover like that, you're with someone 24/7. Like, you don't get a break from them at all. Like, as you said, you're eating, sleeping, everything with them.
Yeah, we shared an apartment, and it was a good thing we did, because our targets came to our apartment one night in the middle of the night to see if we actually did live there. Because the FBI was a little notorious for renting an apartment and nobody actually living in that apartment. And so the bad guys were kind of onto that. So they showed up in the middle of the night, knocked on the door, and wanted to know, hey, they had the premise of, I think I left my sunglasses here. Yeah, so you're just going to show up in the middle of the night to look for your sunglasses. But
you didn't open the door, did you?
Oh, sure. Because we wanted them to see that we were living there. We wanted it to be as natural as possible. So I think
gotcha.
Bill opened the door. I think he was even in his underwear. It was the middle of the night, If you knock on the door in the middle of the night, you're going to get Bill in his underwear.
So, going to get what you get, right?
That's it. So, so it is. That's the thing with the full-time undercover the 24/7 stuff is you don't get to come in and out. You don't have the luxury of being yourself. You don't have the luxury of saying, oh, I want to go on a shopping spree with my best friend today. That just doesn't exist. So the only people we had access to were the two of us and our contact agent when we would meet with him.
Wow, that's a lot. Well, why did you decide to put like Holden Graham in there for another flirty interest? Like just to where did that come from?
Well, the animal extremist that I had been undercover with for close to 7 years, because I did 4 years by myself, and then I did 3 years with Bill. They were very long-term cases, and it's a young group, and they are looking for romance. They're looking for love, or there's a lot of romances going on. And I thought, well, that would be interesting to know that I was going to have feelings between Blake for Lexi, to put a little competition in there. See how he's going to respond, because the character of Blake is a little bit gruff to be working these kind of cases, which is kind of funny because Bill came from a background where he had worked bank robberies and fugitives, and his undercover experience prior to this had been rougher stuff. And so he was a little rough around the edges when we started, and I had to keep smoothing him out. I was like, no, you can't. You've got to have a little different personality. You've got to be patient. You've got to be calm. You've got to let them come to you. You've got to be, you can't like barge in. These are not aggressive personalities. And so, the character of Blake was a lot like when Bill first started.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just like the idea of Holden kind of being the golden boy, sort of, the surfer looking guy. And I also like the idea that in the long run, he wasn't going to be good, but you're kind of on the fence at first with him. Is he good? Is he not good?
Yeah. What's his deal? Like, is he here for the long haul? What's he going to do, bad or good? Or do you like him? You don't like him?
Yes.
When I'm reading a book like that, I want that in the book. You don't want to know immediately, I don't like him, or immediately I love him. You kind of want to work into that and figure it out. That's the beauty of a great writer such as yourself, to
thank you,
kind of make that happen, but not on the first paragraph.
Well, and also with the character with him, I wanted to get back to the whole point of undercover work too, is you build relationships to betray relationships. And also I wanted the readers to really wonder, did Lexi have feelings for him, or was that just an undercover act? Was she just using Holden? Because that's what you do when you're undercover. You use people. I mean, you'll use anything you have in your toolbox to get information. And Lexi realized right off the bat that Holden liked her, and she knew that was going to be her toolbox. She was going to be able to use his feelings to elicit information from him.
Wow. Sorry, I realized I was on mute. Technical difficulties. It's been a while since I've done this. That's really, really cool. What I wanted to ask you was, I believe you won an award for this one.
Yeah, this one won, I always have to look. It won the Reader's Choice Gold Award, and it also won the Feather Quilled Gold Award. I thought I was very happy with both of those awards, because I love when you get an award like that, because those are from real readers. Those are from, those aren't from some, judges sitting someplace. Those are because people are like the books and they read the book, especially like the Feathered Quill and the Reader's Choice. Those two are really come down to the readers like the books.
Right. The one other question. The last time I talked to you in person, you may have just gotten back from a writer's workshop that you organized, the Southern.
Yeah, that was a Southeastern.
A little bit about that, or tell me what you've done since then.
Well, at that time, I was on the board of Southeastern Writers Association, which is a wonderful organization. In fact, they just met this last week in St. Simons. They meet every year, usually the first or second week in June in St. Simons. Unfortunately, I missed this year because I was teaching at another writers conference in Clarksville, Tennessee. So I missed this year. But yeah, I enjoy doing the writers conferences. I enjoy teaching and going because I always learn so much from fellow writers. And it's kind of funny what you know, sometimes you can sit in on a class and think, well, this really isn't going to help me. I don't know why I'm sitting here. And then the next thing you know, you're just writing notes and notes and notes. And suddenly it's like, oh my gosh, I've learned so much from this class that I didn't think would even apply to my writing.
I know. Francine, one of the things you missed, and Dana, we're going to have to talk about the next time there's a low country getaway. I don't know when, but there will be another one at some point in time.
Yay.
One of the things that we did this last year is implemented a 1 day or a 2 day writers workshop, but it was more like a retreat. It wasn't, because I know the Pat Conroy Literary Center is busy and the best at all of those types of workshops locally. But what you just said is so true. I never realized, everybody says you can be a writer. If you can tell a story, you can be a writer. I've heard that for 5 years now, by interviewing authors. And I never believed it until we did some workshops, prompts. And then it was very emotional. I found it to be, do you find writing an emotional process for you?
Writing is very emotional for me. The first book I said, it turned out to be therapy. I mean, I was writing the book to get I'd been undercover for so many years at that point and done about 13 years. And I was affected a lot more than I realized. And so I think writing the first book really helped to get some of that out. Putting it on page made, like, it was therapy. It really was. I wrote the first book for therapy. The second book, I think, for the love of the low country. And the third book, I was just kind of addicted. But I've written scenes. I don't know if you remember the scene in Beyond the Cabin where the fight in the cabin, that scene affected me so much that I got finished. I was covered in sweat. I could hardly breathe. And I just had to put on my tennis shoes and go out and go for just a long walk just to breathe because I was a wreck. I was an emotional wreck after writing that one scene. But the good thing is when you know you're messed up that bad from writing it, that it's going to mess up the reader. So I always feel like if it hurts to write it, then it's going to hurt to read it. So that's good.
Right.
Yeah. Right. I think if you're truly invested, it should hurt. It should be painful. If you're writing a painful scene and, you're just writing it out and then you're not putting enough of yourself into it. You got to dig deeper and deeper and deeper until it's painful.
That's a good point. Because if it messed you up like that, it got to us readers too. I love to hear that. Wasn't your first book out in 2022 at Susie's first low country leisure getaway? Was that your first book or second book?
I can't remember. The first book came out in 2016.
Oh, okay.
So it might have been the second book.
Okay. I couldn't remember. I was thinking that.
Yeah, that's the first one right
there.
This
is the first one.
Okay, Beyond.
And you signed it August 2021, so I don't know.
Oh, it might have been, yeah.
Yeah, and then your second one was Beyond the Cabin.
Yeah. That one was.
That's the one you had at the 2022 getaway, or no?
That might have been. That might have been.
Yeah. And then this one is what we're discussing right now. So I should have said at the very beginning, I got real excited because I haven't done this in a while, that there will be spoilers.
Yeah.
So if you haven't read the book, don't listen. But I think most people these days, because we're not in COVID times anymore, watch these type of interviews and things because it will be simultaneously on YouTube. And most people watch it later. I enjoy when we have a lot of people on and we can have more interactivity, but that doesn't always happen when there's probably an NBA final on, or I don't know, golf, all kinds of stuff going on. Francine, what other question do you have for Dana?
Well,
can you please write another story about Lexi? Are you going to do a fourth book? How do you feel about that?
I have a fourth book that's done. And it's with my literary agent now. She's looking for a contract for it, but it's not a Lexi book. I left the genre for the fourth book because I just felt like I had a story in my head that needed to come out. And I felt like I had the 3 FBI books down, and it was time to just do something different. So that book is done, and I'm hoping to get a contract on it soon and get it published. But it's called All the Hidden Pieces.
Oh, I
And
like that title.
Thank you. Thank you. It's about a group of friends that are in their 50s now, but they grew up together. They were close when they were children, but they went separate ways during adulthood, and they come back together because of a tragedy. And one of the women in the group decides she's going to hike the Appalachian Trail. Well, the other friends, they don't want her to do that alone. So this group of what used to be childhood friends go out on the Appalachian Trail, and they discover along the way, by the time you get into your 50s, you've got a lot of baggage to unload. And they start unloading baggage, and they start telling stories, and they start finding out that there's pieces of each one of them that have been hidden all these years that they've been too afraid to tell each other. And it all kind of unfolds on the trail as they hike. So
That sounds like a fabulous read. But
thank you.
it's
It's
good
a lot
to,
of fun.
as it sounds like it, and I know that you'll keep us posted so we can all post about it, and we want to know when it's out, when we can pre-order.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that one gets out, and I've actually started a 5th book. In the 5th book, I did go back to the FBI genre. It's not a Lexi book, but it has a brand new female protagonist. She's a little bit older. She's a little bit spicier. She's got a mouth on her and an attitude. And she has been so much fun to write. And so I've enjoyed writing that character so much. But I'm hoping that if it turns into a series, that eventually that series and the Lexi series will cross, because I kind of miss Lexi. I do feel the need to bring her back. So
I would. I like Lexi.
yeah. I like
mean,
it too, and I kind of want to see where she ended up.
my daughter's name's Alexandra, but we call her Alex and mostly Lexi for short. So that name is very meaningful to me. So I love that name.
Yeah, I like that. And the new character was really supposed to be the character of Lexi, but I had debated on writing under a pseudonym, and I was going to use the name of the character, and then I decided to use my real name. So then Lexi was already out. I had to turn it into the publisher, and I used Lexi. So I thought that's the character for my for the 5th book for the new series is going to be the name that I thought about writing under.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's exciting. You're busy.
Yeah,
You got it going on, Dana.
I don't know about that, but
In between catching fish.
that's
When was
it.
the last time you got a red drum or a redfish recently?
I know, isn't it fun to catch them though? They fight like crazy. I love catching redfish. They're just so much fun to catch, and they're good eating.
I was going to say they're quite delicious.
They are.
Yeah,
They are.
Yummy, yummy in the
So
tummy.
what do you like to read in when you're not writing and you have a time to read?
I love so many different genres. I read, of course, Pat Conroy is my favorite author of all time. So I like Southern books, but right now I'm reading Nicholas Sparks' new book, and I just went through a big fantasy period to where the last year, all I was reading was fantasy and romantasy. I read the fourth wing books, and I was addicted, and read all of Sarah J. Maas's books, and I was just addicted to that genre for a while. And so now I've kind of stepped back, and like I said, just out of the blue, I picked up Nicholas Sparks' last book. So I read everything. I don't know. It's kind of whatever I'm in the mood. When it's time to start a new book, it's whatever looks good at the time. Could be anything.
It could be a cover. It could be a magazine. Who knows? What is it?
Yeah, and sometimes I'm reading books for friends too. If they want somebody to read over things and give them some thoughts on it. So, or sometimes I'm reading books to do the blurbs.
Mm-hmm.
So I do quite a few of those. So, I mean, I could be reading a children's book tomorrow for a friend. Who knows?
That would be nice.
But I just love all genres. I'm not stuck in one genre. I'm not a big memoir person though. I don't read a lot of nonfiction and memoirs. Most of my reading is fiction.
I used to not do that until a couple of years ago, and now I really enjoy memoirs.
Do you?
A lot. Yes. Well, I have a hardback book going all the time, like mostly paperback, but then I like audiobooks. And
Mhm.
most of the memoirs I listen on audio, and I love it when the person's actually reading the book. That's
Yeah. I had a friend that just did that. He was a former agent too, an undercover, and he read his book. His was a memoir, but he did all the reading. I envy anybody that can do that because that's not me. I'm not good at reading out loud, and I don't know. I sound very stiff. I don't think I would be a very good narrator at all.
I couldn't sit still that long.
Yeah, that's
Like,
another thing too. That's a
like
long time.
many hours. Oh my goodness.
Mhm.
So I have a follow-up question about, or not a question, but I just read and I believe this is true. I think there's a big buzzword these days, but it's not a buzzword, it's real, and it's called authentic. And
Mhm.
I believe that you are an extremely authentic author. We have authentic sports people in this world, we have authentic singers and songwriters, and then we have AI.
Oh,
What I'm just going to dive in. We've got a few more minutes.
uh-huh.
What do you think about our current dynamic with authentic humans doing the work and then the AI piece of what's infiltrating our world right now, Dana?
You know, AI is to me it can be pretty scary because you know it's gonna be everywhere. I mean, it's infiltrating everything at this point in time. I think if it was used properly, I think AI could help. I mean, it could be a very helpful tool. Like me, this back cover, I hate writing the back cover more than anything. And I was playing around one day with AI and I just kind of gave it some facts and said, write a back cover for me. And
Mhm.
it wasn't even a real book. It was just, you know, I was just messing with AI to see what it would do. And it spit out the perfect back cover. And I was like, holy crap. One,
Mhm.
it was really good. And two, you know, it was so fast. It, writing a back cover for me, I'd rather write 3 novels than write one back cover. I mean, I think that's the hardest thing to write. That and a synopsis. I hate writing a synopsis too. But I think there'd be times when you could really use AI to help. Another thing that I used it for that it was very helpful for was um, my agent, my agent and editor. We all were sitting together on a Zoom call, and they were looking for comparisons for the new novel, All the Hidden Pieces. Well, my comparisons were, well, you know, I think it's kind of similar to Wild and The Big Chill, and they're looking at me and shaking their head. They're like, you can't use stuff that old. It has to be new. It has to be within 2 years. And I couldn't think of a single thing that the book was similar to. So the editor, she starts just getting on her computer and she put in AI a little bit about the synopsis of the story. And she says, give me books published within the last 2 years with this similar. And it spit out several books. And some of them didn't fit, but a couple of them did. A couple of them were really good comparisons. So I ended up going and reading those books because I was like, that would be a good comparison. So I think in some situations, AI is great. I mean, that saved us all kinds of time. I don't know how long it would have taken 3 people to dig through all the books published in the last 2 years to try to figure out something similar, if we even could have. But that gave us a big jump start because then we took that list and then we went from there and got on Amazon and got on different sites and narrowed it down and found other books similar to those. So, but
Wow.
it is scary when you think that one, that your stuff could be stolen, you know, everything you put in there, and that's pretty terrifying. But then for people that are just looking to try to make a quick buck and write a whole story and then publish it on Amazon, I can't see where that's going to be any good at all. That's just going to hurt all authors, I think.
Right. I agree. What do you think about it, Francine?
I don't. It's a part of it scares me because I think it's. I don't know. I like the human doing the work. It's just I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. It's weird. But you know I have put in write a review on something, and it just spit out like the whole thing and was pretty good. And
Yeah.
sometimes the wording is better than what I can do. because
Mhm.
I'm certainly not a writer, but I do like to review books, and I do like it if it sounds halfway intelligent. So, I think we're heading that way. I really do. And I don't
Yeah.
think there's much we can do about it.
Yeah,
So, gonna
I
have to get
know.
on board or not.
Mhm.
I do think there needs to be some type of restrictions, but I don't know. I mean, the genie may be out of the bottle already on this.
Yeah.
Can't put it back in either.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do.
That's right.
No, I agree with the two of you, and I just find that I think if there was a requirement like you see on Facebook, like AI label or whatever, I
Uh-huh.
think that that would be helpful, so that you understand. Like I tried after my writer's workshop to use AI to help me because I didn't feel like I was a good writer, and it created a story that evoked my emotions, the place, the five senses, but it wasn't all me. So I labeled it me and AI, right?
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
don't think everybody's honest about that out there.
Now, can you imagine being a college professor now and trying to figure out what's AI and I mean, because to me, if you're throwing everything in AI and you're in college, I mean, that's plagiarism. I don't, that's not your work. But how would you go about proving that? And I don't know.
I don't know either. But it for creativity, I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
uh, Marketing or advertising. I saw one commercial today that made me just laugh out loud as soon as I saw it. And it was kind of advertised, just talking about AI. It was some people on one side sweat. I think it was Matthew McConaughey. He's over here sweating to death and just like all like his air conditioning's not working. And then I forget the other actors on the other side. I should know his name, but I'm forgetting it right now. And he's all nice and cool. And then the punchline was that's what AI can do for you. It was just kind of funny. It just made me laugh. Anyway, Francine, we've got and Dana, we have about 5 more minutes just to
Okay.
wrap up. So I'm gonna let you do the next question, and then we'll talk about what's next in the book club. But Dana, I want you to have your last comments or whatever, and then you can go enjoy the rest of your evening with your husband and your dog. Do you still have that dog?
I do. I do. Bodie. He's
Bodhi?
much better now. He's a little over. He's about 2.5 years old now. That first year was rough. Oh, good night. That first year was rough, but he's doing good now. He's a
Okay,
sweetheart.
good, good, good. Okay, Francine, go for it. Ask her a question. Another one. One more.
Oh, did you, when you write a story like this, do you write start to beginning, or do you do it in pieces and do the middle and the back? I mean, a lot of people start in the middle and work backwards. What is your writing process?
That's a great question. I was just talking to some college kids at this writers conference, and they were asking some of the similar stuff, how if they should write all the way through, or if they should edit as they go, because I write all the way through from beginning to end. I don't skip around. So I start and I end. But I do it a little different. A lot of people will tell you you should just put that first draft on the paper. Don't ever look back. Just write, get it all down. That doesn't work for me. I write and then I put it away for the night. And the next day I get up, I read what I wrote the day before. And then I edit a little bit, not a major heavy edit, but I'll see things that, okay, that's wrong. That's a sentence structure is terrible. And I'll do a few edits, and then that springboards me into the day's work. And so then I'm write. And the next day I come back and I write, sometimes it'll go back 2 or 3 days, and it gets to a point you can't go all the way back to the beginning, but I'll go back a little ways. I'll do a little bit more editing, and then I'll write some more. And the thing is, when you do it that way and you get finished, your manuscript's pretty clean when you get to the end. It doesn't need you still have to have it edited, but it's like you get finished and you're like, okay, I don't have any holes. I have a story. The story makes sense. One time I did try to just go straight through and write as fast as I could from beginning to end. It was actually on this third book. And that did not work for me. I lost a character. I completely left the character out, lost the character somewhere. Never know where a character went to, but it just was there one page and then gone the next. So I found that doing that, I had holes. and it was rough, and it just I didn't feel good about that process. So I start from beginning to end, but I go back a little bit and then go back a little bit and go back a little bit until I'm done.
Well, what you're doing is working, so just keep doing it like that.
Thank you. Thank
I
you.
know. I love them all. I'm going to show them again. So this one was the first one we read and featured in the first one in the Lexi series, Behind the Mask. And then we had, then you wrote Beyond the Cabin. And we
Yeah.
featured that and we talked about it on this virtual book club. And then this is the one we're discussing today. So again, if you haven't read it, you might have heard some spoilers, but it's an award-winning book and two awards.
Yeah.
So congratulations on that. Call me and let's go fishing.
Yeah, let's do. Let's do.
Okay. What else would you like to say tonight, Dana? And then we'll let you go. And Francine and I will just talk about what's next in the virtual book club.
Well, the books are available, paperback, ebook, audiobook. If you're an audiobook person, I have the same narrator that has done all three of the books because I wanted to keep Lexi's voice the same. And I wanted, she had such a good grasp of the characters. So I love my narrator. I thought she did a great job. So if you're an audiobook person, then pick up the audiobooks and listen to them. So that was kind of fun to get that done.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It was fast and furious. You're a good fast talker at the end there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate being back. It's always great to talk to readers. And thank you, Francine, for reading the book too.
You're welcome. Congratulations on the awards, and we'll be patiently waiting for your next book out.
Thank you. And thank you, Susie, for doing this. This is such a wonderful thing that you do. The virtual book club, I know it came about because of COVID, but keep it up because it's great.
No, it's got some momentum, I believe. I think I was trying to do the math the other day and I'm like, okay, 12 times 5 plus a few extras, I've done that many interviews. That's over 80, right? Is my math right? I don't know.
That's good. That's great.
It's amazing. And that's what I love the best. What I get out of this the most is the community that we have built between readers and authors, and then integrating a little bit of travel experience in the middle of it. So that's why I do it. And it feels good. So
yeah. It's great. It's great. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. You have a wonderful night, and say hi to your hubby and your little doggy.
I'll do that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Have a wonderful summer.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Take care.
That was fast. That was fast.
I know it went by really fast. It was 40 minutes, but
I was like, what the heck? We just started.
Well, I started really fast, like way too fast. And then I apologize for that.
Oh my God. And I don't think
anybody
can
chat at the end if she wants to, if she's hanging out in the studio. But okay. I think what's next is Joe Palmer. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
Okay. And when is he?
Coming up quickly. Yeah, I should know. Hold on. I've got it.
He's so nice. I'm
getting organized sort of all on my own here. There we go. So in just a few minutes.
Oh.
So June, no, I'm just kidding. June 10th. So in 2 days. And this is just me trying to catch up with the backlog since I haven't been able to hold a virtual book club since March. So.
Well, that's interesting because I had you on my calendar for Susie M book club on the 10th. Mm-hmm. And I'd written it down a long time ago. And then when you asked me about this, I thought, well, this was instead of that. So he's still the 10th.
Yeah. Do you want to do that too? You're totally welcome to. Yeah. I need help. I can't do this by myself.
Yeah. But especially since we've got some momentum going.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes. I love talking with you to the authors and I'd love to meet him because we've had a lot of interactions on social media. So yeah.
Good.
And there'll be 7:00.
Yes.
Okay.
So we will be live. I think I told you, but I want to tell our group. I'm starting to do some pre-recorded interviews as well. Those are important because it's hard to get everyone's schedules together live. It's just like anything. So some of the future book club features authors have very, very busy schedules, and I have a busy travel schedule. So as you know, Francine, when I'm running the behind the scenes, it's very hard to do this with different time zones.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's impossible, depending on where your connectivity is. But I really appreciate you being standing by my side as a group expert for so long, and I will have all the show notes, the Facebook, the YouTube, everything. We always announce what's next in the group first. You can see it on the banner on the Facebook page on the top. Sometimes it's not 100% accurate because I need to squeeze in a really special debut novelist author. So that's how we roll. Flexible, just building community.
Well, that's good. I'm glad we're back into it. And it's always hard in the summertime, but then it's hard in the fall because everybody's busy in the fall. I mean, it's now that we're all out doing our normal life again, it's kind of a crazy time.
That's for sure. I'm glad your things are settling down in your life, and I hope everybody has a happy Father's Day this weekend. And we'll be back in touch in a couple of days to do this. So
we have a big Father's Day around here Sunday because I'm hosting Christy Woodson Harvey on Sunday for a book party.
I meant to know, but we got to do something. We got to talk about that. The small author.
She's she was small on here.
And I mean, she's petite. I don't mean it mean. Anyway, so tell everybody more about that.
Her new book, Beach House Rules, came out last week. I was supposed to host her in April of 2020 for a book. Now I can't even remember which book it was. And so she has said she is going to come. And so I've invited my all my friends, my book people, and I'm just excited to finally meet her in person after 5 years. Like, she's one of my favorite authors, the sweetest person on the planet. So it's from 2 to 4. So hopefully people can come by for a little bit and meet her.
Yeah, that'd be great. In person, meeting authors in person is so cool. One of I remember she was not the first or second, but maybe the third or fourth author that I featured in 2020. And I was in Oregon. And it was so exciting for me to have a, New York Times bestseller author. But I also love having award-winning authentic authors like Dana and Joe, and of course Pat Conroy. Well, we read all of his novels inside and out, and maybe 10 times over at some time in our lives. But it's just so cool to meet someone in person and have that authentic conversation. So
yeah, I'm excited because I feel like I've known her forever, and they're part of the Friends in Fiction group, and so I'm just really excited. I don't have any other book parties planned, so we'll see what happens going forward. I love having authors here, and I think it's really fun. So we'll see. So I'm excited about that. So yes, it's going to be a big Father's Day weekend around here, and I don't think hubby will have much to Father's Day, but he doesn't care about stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, thank you so much for asking me to join you again, and I really look forward to June 10th. I'm so excited about that too.
All right, it'll be fun, and just keep up watching the group because Melissa's doing some great things. Everybody's doing some great things. So
I love Melissa. Yeah, she's on it.
Mm-hmm. Yep,
in a big way. So.
Yes, absolutely. All righty. Have a lovely night. Signing off on Sundays. Talk to you in a couple 48 hours, whatever that is. Take care.
Yeah. Talk to you in a little bit. Bye.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.